What if I told you that every single thing that you've ever done, every decision that you've ever made, every relationship that you've ever been in is just one of 8 stories played out on repeat? There's not a metaphor, not a vibe, just literally 8 plots. Literally 8 plots. And your brain has been running either one or many of them your whole life without telling you. That's the central idea in The Stories of Your Life by Professor Ben Ambridge, a psycholinguist in the University of Manchester. And once you see these 8 master plots, you cannot unsee them in movies, in the news, in your own family drama, and most importantly, in yourself. Let's break down each of these 8 master plots with a movie to tell you exactly what each of them looks and feels like. So, Ambridge's core argument is this. Over thousands of years of storytelling, we haven't invented an infinite number of stories. We've refined them down to 8 core narratives, 8 master plots. And we don't use these plots just to entertain ourselves. We unconsciously use them to make sense of our own lives. The grieving widow framing her loss as a love story. The fired employee who tells himself that he's the underdog fighting against big corporations. The addict calling her addiction a monster that she has to fight. These aren't just ways of describing life, they are psychological strategies. They fundamentally shape how we feel, how we act, and what we do next. So here are the 8, and I promise you'll recognize yourself in at least one of them. Plot number 1, the monster. The monster plot is about an external force. A person, a system, an illness, or villain. Something that threatens everything. The story is about confronting it and then defeating it. For example, in The Lion King, Scar is the monster. He kills Mufasa, he takes over the Pride Lands, and then Simba has to rise up and destroy him to restore order. In real life, think about that person who frames their toxic boss as the monster, or someone in recovery who says addiction is the monster that I'm fighting. This plot gives people a villain to defeat, and that's incredibly motivating. The danger happens when you start seeing everything as a monster, turning every obstacle into this war that you have to win. Plot number 2. The underdog. The underdog plot is one of the most beloved narratives on earth. The little guy, the overlooked person, the one that everyone counted out, rising up against the impossible odds. The easiest example of this, Rocky Balboa, a small-town boxer from Philadelphia who gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Nobody believes in him, he barely believes in himself, but he trains, he fights, and he goes the distance. In real life, the underdog narrative is incredibly powerful for motivation. The student who was told he'd never amount to anything, working twice as hard to prove everybody wrong. The small startup that's competing against the giants. Just be careful, if you're always casting yourself as the underdog, you might hold on to victimhood longer than it serves you. Plot number 3, the quest. The quest plot is about a mission, a goal that gives a destination, a goal that gives everything meaning. The hero must travel, must struggle, and sacrifice to reach it. Best example of this, Lord of the Rings. Frodo has to carry this one ring all the way to Mount Doom in order to destroy it. The journey is brutal, full of temptation and setbacks, but the mission never changes. In real life, the quest plot shows up whenever someone gives their life a North Star. The entrepreneur chasing a vision, the athlete gunning for the Olympics, the person who moves across the world just for a dream. The quest narrative gives life structure and purpose. But watch out when the goal becomes so consuming that you forget to live life along the way. Plot number 4, love. The love plot is about 2 people finding connection against all odds. It's not just romantic. It's about belonging and about being truly seen. Best example, Titanic. Jack and Rose come from opposite worlds, separated by class and circumstance and the literal sinking of a ship. But for a few brief days, they find each other completely. In real life, we frame friendships, partnerships, and even our relationship with our work through the love plot. They complete me, this is my person. The love narrative is beautiful when it works, but it can become dangerous when we make the other person responsible for our entire emotional world. Plot number 5, sacrifice. The sacrifice plot is about giving something up. Comfort, time, safety, even our own happiness for the benefit of others. It's deeply tied to identity. Good example, the movie Interstellar, in which Cooper leaves his children behind and travels through a wormhole to save the entire human race. He misses their entire childhood. It's the ultimate sacrifice. In real life, Ben Ambridge argues that the parent who wakes up an hour early to prep for their child's breakfast is running the sacrifice plot. Immigrant who works 3 jobs so that their children can go to university. This narrative is noble, but it can also be used to keep yourself stuck, staying in situations that hurt you because leaving feels selfish. Plot number 6, rescue. The rescue plot is about saving someone else. It's different from the quest plot because it isn't about the hero. It's entirely about the other person. A good example of this is the movie Schindler's List. Oskar Schindler starts the movie as a selfish businessman, but ends the movie having spent his entire fortune trying to save the lives of over 1,000 Jewish people during the Holocaust. The rescue becomes his entire purpose. In real life, you see this in caregivers, activists, whistleblowers, that nurse who works double shifts because they can't leave their patients. The person who stayed in that relationship for far too long because they felt that their partner needed saving. The rescue plot is selfless, but it can blur the line between devotion and losing yourself entirely. Plot number 7. Revenge. The revenge plot is driven by one fuel: feeling wronged. Someone did something to you and you will not rest until there's justice or retribution. For example, in Kill Bill, the bride wakes up from her coma and embarks on a single-minded mission to kill everyone that tried to end her life. The wound here is the engine. In real life, Aimbridge uses the example of a boxer who frames every fight as a revenge for the previous defeat. This narrative is actually one of the most powerful motivators in human psychology, but it does trap you in the past. You can't move forward when your whole story is about going back. Plot number 8. Transformation. Transformation plot is about change. Deep, internal change. The character at the end of the story is fundamentally different from who they were at the start. For example, in the movie A Beautiful Mind, John Nash is a brilliant mathematician who struggles with severe schizophrenia. Over the course of the film, he learns to distinguish delusion from reality, finds love, and eventually wins the Nobel Prize. Not by curing himself, but by transforming how he lives with himself. In real life, the transformation plot is at the heart of every therapy journey, recovery story, personal growth arc. It's about becoming someone new. The risk when transformation becomes an endless project. You spend so long trying to become someone else that you never actually live as who you are. So what's the big takeaway? One thing that Ben Aimbridge makes absolutely clear, that these aren't just stories that we watch. They're stories that we live inside. And the master plot that you choose, often without realizing it, shapes every decision that you make. So ask yourself, what plot am I running right now? Are you stuck in the revenge plot, kept alive by an old grudge? Are you playing the underdog when the odds aren't actually that bad? Are you in a rescue story, trying to save someone who never asked to be saved? Or are you on a quest that's cost you everything but the destination? There's no wrong answer, but awareness is power. The moment you can name the story that you're in, you can decide whether it's actually serving you or whether it's time to write a new one. Because here's the most important thing. You're not just a character in your story. You are the author. The Stories of Your Life by Ben Aimbridge is genuinely one of those books that rewired how I see the world. I'd highly recommend grabbing a copy. If this video helped you, please drop a comment telling me which master plot you've been living in. I genuinely want to know. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. See you in the next one.